Good morning from McDonald's. It's about 5:30 in the morning, and as is my usual recently, I went through a little spell when this wasn't true, I guess, but I have trouble sleeping in, and I haven't really pushed it too much in the evening time. I talked about this before that no matter when I went to sleep, I would wake up early. Um, and it's kind of come back, although I haven't really pushed it too much later into the evening. We'll see how it goes. Maybe tomorrow night when my girls are in town. Um, but yeah, so I'm up and it's a rainy day and Nora is sleeping and the kids should be getting up for school and whatnot. So I thought I would sneak out to McDonald's, which seems to be my new hangout. It's a little noisier than I like, but yeah, I think we're going to give it a try and have a little chat and see how it goes. Not really sure what we're going to get all into on this episode, which is a common refrain from me, I guess. But I got a couple ideas, and we'll get into those. So without further ado, it's Thursday, February 6th, 2020, and as of this recording, I'm still depressed, but I'm not dead. So, I've been a busy little podcaster the past few weeks, doing this show and being a guest on others' shows. I'll be sure to let you all know when those are out. I'm a little apprehensive about one of them. I ran into this guy on Twitter, or not Twitter, on Reddit, and he does what is it? The Patient Will See You Now is the name of his podcast, and he has guests on who are suffering from various illnesses and discusses what it's like in dealing with those illnesses. I haven't listened to his show yet. He's got probably a dozen episodes out, and they're titled like living with. So living with HIV, living with type 1 diabetes, living with other various maladies. So I sent him a message and asked, hey, what do you think about depression? Will that fit in? Because it's clearly an illness, but I wasn't sure what the angle of his show was. And he replied back right away. He said, yeah, that would be great. Why don't you give me a little synopsis on how it's affected your life, and we'll see. And he was all for it. And so we got together. We chatted for, 45 minutes to an hour. And I retold my story as I remember it. And that's the part that I'm kind of apprehensive about. I was talking with Nora, and, memories change over time. The theory is that when you think of a memory, when you remember something, you're actively changing the story each time, right? You're adding a little bit or subtracting a little bit. And that's just the way memory works. And so, if I told Nora a story 4 years ago, and then I tell her the same story today, it may have changed a little bit, but maybe in such a way that, her memory of it is like, oh, okay, a little fuzzy as well. And I'm kind of in a unique situation where a lot of my life is cataloged here on the podcast, and folks have listened to it. I get emails, people who are binge listening to the show, or even folks who just come to the show maybe a few months ago, and they get caught up relatively quickly. And so my memory is, 4 years old on some of these, 3 years old on some of these. And I've rehashed it quite a lot. I've rehashed them often with different therapists and the show and Nora and whatever, being on Claire's show, for instance. So my memories may be subtly different, maybe not so subtly. In some situations, the memory is really flawed, and so I'm a little concerned about the I don't know what I want to say. The validity, maybe, or the apparent validity of these stories. So in the same token, I'm kind of interested to find out maybe if some of you listened to this show that I was on, which I'm not sure when it'll be out. I think in a couple weeks at most. But I'd like to hear what people like catch. Is it like, oh, you said it was 3 days here, or you said that you thought about this kind of suicide, or you thought about whatever. I think that'll be interesting, but I also am concerned that it's going to invalidate some of the show and maybe some people's minds. And maybe I'm worrying about it too much. I'm prone to do that. So we'll see how that goes. But the patient will see you now. It was quite a talk. And like I said, I'll make sure I get the link out to everybody. I'll mention it in a podcast, and I'll put it out on Twitter and Facebook and blah 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 blah, all that stuff. And then Nora and I were on a podcast together. We bumped into this other gentleman who does is starting up. He hasn't published anything yet. A quote unquote love story podcast. And so I've sent him a quick note and said, hey, here's the story of my wife and I. What do you think? And he was all jazzed about it. He thought it would be a good story for his podcast. And so we spent an hour the other night reliving our relationship, our courting, and our shacking up together. Getting married again, our kids, our vacations, our everything, our secret, what we think our secret to success is. And that was kind of fun. And I will probably, I can't think of why I wouldn't, but I haven't asked Nora if it's okay yet, share that one with you all as well. And I'm hoping that's kind of a fun little excursion for you all. We do talk about my mental illness and my last suicide attempt, as it really fits into our story, right? It is an important event in our relationship. So, I don't even know what that podcast is called. So the guy could just totally stiff me and run the show without giving me credit, and I probably would never find it. So a couple fun, different kind of podcasts out there and coming up, and I'll share those with you. As well as I've got another interview I did with a gentleman who is a practitioner of mindfulness. And that's going to get into a few other things I'm going to talk about next episode, I think. But it was really enlightening to me talking with him about mindfulness, and how maybe a short introduction, maybe some discussion about mindfulness and the pitfalls of it, the traps of it, and the successes of it. So pretty interesting. That should be out next week. I've been busy with the podcasting, and I don't know what the next month or two will hold for the show. Well, if it's going to be, I don't think I have anybody lined up to speak with. So you guys might be stuck with a lot more of me. What else has been going on? So I've talked about quite a bit about this feeling of less than, right? That I feel that I am not as valuable, worthy as others. And it's a really pervasive feeling. And yeah, so I've talked with Cynthia about it, my new therapist, and it's something we're kind of working with each week when we get together. And I'm not really sure what's going to come of it. Right, I don't know. It's a lot of years of neural pathways being burnt in my brain. And so I was sitting here, my favorite McDonald's, right, about a week ago, maybe a week ago, and like it just struck me, like what I Google image searched not less than, because we all know what less than equal to greater than in mathematics. And I found a few images from a few different sites, and it was basically just a less than sign with a kind of a horizontal diagonal line through it. And I got kind of a bit by the bug and said, "Hey, I want that. I want that on me. What can I do that? Should I do that?" And I sent a message to my good friend Claire, and I sent a message to an older friend of mine, Sam, and said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And they both said, "Oh, that's cool." So I mentioned it to Nora, and she was, as typically, if I support you, if that's what you want, that's great. I anticipated that if it was completely asinine that she would tell me, but she didn't. And wouldn't you know it, today's Thursday. Tuesday I went out and I stopped by a tattoo shop, tattoo parlor. What are they called these days? Parlor sounds so old-timey. And just to ask, say, "Hey, this is what I'm looking at." I had a little copy of the symbol about the size that I wanted. "Hey, this is what I got. About how much would it be? What can I do? Do you guys take appointments?" And thinking that I would just talk it over with Nora again. Like, "Hey, sweetheart, it's going to cost $65 or whatever." And the guy said, "Yeah, you know what? That's perfect for my third-year apprentice. She could nail that. And, she's coming in like 15 minutes. So, you want to do it?" And I'm okay. So, yeah, I sat down, did a crossword puzzle on my phone. She showed up, Kat, very nice lady. And she did it. It took about 20 minutes. And now I've got this third tattoo on my body. It's on the inside of my right forearm, so I can see it, and it's situated in such that it's a less than symbol for me, not a less than symbol for others looking at it. And I'm kind of excited about it. I think I've got Jamulki on my left shoulder as kind of a way to remind me. Keep my girls with me at all times. And I think about that often when I'm doing various things. And I'm hoping that, this less than is a very, very integral part of my life, of my day-to-day interactions, my day-to-day everything. And being not less than is a goal of mine, right? And so I don't know. Does this sound weird to you guys? I guess I never know, right? Because I'm less than. So embracing the new ideology, not less than, is that, hey, I like this, and I'm glad it's with me, and yeah, I'm interested to know what you think, but it's not going to dissuade me one way or the other. Yeah, so tattooed. JP's got 3 tattoos. He's I was talking with someone somewhere, Reddit or something, about tattoos, and they said that they were trying to get a tattoo from every state in the United States. not of, but in. So sitting in Arkansas and getting a tattoo. And they asked how many I had. I had 3, and they said, "Oh, you're blank." And I thought, what? And I said, well, I've got like 50, and I think people who don't have tattoos look funny. And so 3 is not that impressive for this person. They'd probably be less impressed to find out that they're all just black. Nothing really special. Nothing colorful about them, I guess. Yeah, so that, I've got a tattoo. Maybe once it heals up and it's not looking red and puffy, I'll put a picture out somewhere, Instagram or who knows what. So also I have started dieting in earnest. I say that, but it's been 3 days. But yeah, I got to a point where I was pretty unhappy about my weight. And the guy I saw in the giant bathroom mirror, right? And the switch was flipped, and now I am, yeah, it's funny how fickle I am, right? But thinking like before a week ago, I was just eating to fill my holes, right? And now the switch is flipped, and like I'm no longer doing that, and I'm really aware of what I'm eating and counting calories, and actually holding the feeling of being hungry, like actual hungry, not just emotionally hungry. And over on the website, jamolki.info, there's actually a little widget on there that shows my weight from each morning that I get on my Fitbit scale. So, yeah, sorry, not neighbors, but workers going by. So if you're curious, if you're voyeuristic of sorts, and you want to kind of peek in on my weight loss journey, it's there, right out in the open for everybody to see, jamolki.info. I thought that a little bit of public display would be enough to kind of keep me going. So we'll see how that goes. And it was a little bit of an experience getting that little widget up on the website. It was very difficult to find code and find a way to pull data from Fitbit and get it onto my website the way I wanted it. And I wrote a blog post about it, how so I talk about not having focus and not being able to read, and I've talked about not being interested in things, and then this silly thing, this widget to put weight, a graph of my weight up on a website. I spent like 8 of 24 hours doing this, right? Like every waking minute I was doing it. I was only stopping long enough to work, sleep, and charge my laptop. And I was driven, and it was interesting. I've talked about this, that Cynthia and I have talked about this ADHD perhaps. And I don't know if this lends credence to that theory or not. Something that was interesting to me, I was really driven to do. So I don't know. We'll see. I go and see her today. We'll see what she has to say about that. Yeah, so if you haven't been to the website, go check it out. I've got a little poll on there about how you would describe yourself, what you deal with, or if you're a supporter of someone who deals or whatnot. And yeah, it's all hopefully interesting, and I'd like some feedback on it. But I think that's going to be it. I'm going to do my spiel where I thank you all for listening to the show and coming out each week and supporting me on the interwebs is fantastic. There's a lot of things you could do with your day, and those of you who spend 20-30 minutes with me, I appreciate that so much. look me up, jamulki@gmail.com, facebook.com/jamulki, @jamulki on Twitter, or again, www.jamulki.info. That's JAMOALKI. Or you can text me, 248-648-1419. Let me know how you're doing. Text works in the United States only. Sorry, I'm not international in that form, but you can drop me an email. You can go to the website and send a message through there. However you want. If you're of the ilk to send a message, I would love to hear from you. So everybody be safe and be well. Thanks.